Hi, it's Helen Tarrant. Welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. You're here with Helen Tarrant, and today I'm going to talk about should you invest in a holiday town. So I'm here at Nelson Bay, which is in Port Stephens, near about 2.5 hours away from Sydney. And this is the local shops here. I'm walking around, and the question is, should you, if you come on holidays? I know we go on holidays many times throughout the year, and sometimes we look at a place that's really vibrant, and we think, okay, should we buy actually in this town? And then actually a lot of people do invest in residential. Once they've come and had a holiday, they think, wow, it's amazing, and they decide that they're going to look through the real estate windows, and they end up buying something here that is a residential investment, and they can do holiday letting and a lot of other things they could do. They could come up here for holidays themselves, as well as do holiday letting, as well as sort of just long-term investment. But commercial acts differently, and it certainly acts differently when it is in a holiday town. So should you invest in a holiday town if you're looking at investing in commercial? Now, if you are looking at commercial in a holiday town, it's definitely worthwhile for you to do not only a walk around town to have a look like what's in the shop window, like we can see here, what's in the real estate window, but also to walk around to see what are actually some of the shops that really work. I mean, what are some of the clothing stores here? Because there's lots of clothing stores and giftware, usually in holiday towns. Are they upmarket or are they cheap ones? What kind of coffee shops do they have? What kind of food do they serve? And also, I would also suggest you drive around to the different areas and suburbs out of town to see that what's the catchment of the area, because the catchment of the area is really important when you're looking at commercial. Because once the tourists go, and that's out of your holidays, once the Easter holidays and the Christmas holiday goes, what is actually going to support the trade? Is it one of those areas, for example, like Nelson Bay or the Port Stephens area, where all year round there's tourists? Then obviously it booms, it gets really busy during the Easter holidays and the Christmas holidays and the school holidays. But during the other times, there's just generally a lot of people that are local people that are coming to town, and local tourists that come into town as well. So it's worthwhile to actually explore that, to make sure that the town is not going to die once the tourists go past the holidays. So, and also to walk around town to check how much vacancies there is, how much for lease signs there are, whether there's actually new developments happening in the area. So would you drive out of town, say for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and have a look to see if there is house and land packages, whether there's units, and look at the historic sales in terms of the residential side to determine whether this town really has the potential to be bigger, more vibrant in the next 5 to 7 or 10 years. Because ultimately, when you buy a commercial property, it is for the long term. And whether you decide to invest into a commercial property in a holiday town or not, it is obviously the decision that's entirely up to you at the end of the day. But one of the ways to look at doing your research in a holiday town is to really be amongst the locals, see where the locals go. Because when I'm investing in an area, I always try to be where the locals go. So for example, if I am looking at investing in the Gold Coast, the Sunshine Coast, I like to find out, apart from the tourists, where is the local industry? Where does the local people shop? Where do the locals hang out in terms of the activities, fairs, and their business hubs? And I like to invest in those areas. And they're like that in other holiday towns as well. So there'll be areas where most of the locals will go. So it's worthwhile to talk to agents, and always worthwhile to explore that a little bit further. So if you are thinking of investing in a holiday town, I always think that you need to visit it at least twice. So first time, because you get the wow factor that this is such a great place, and the second time when you actually come in here and do real research. Or perhaps after the first time, you would go and actually then spend some time on the phones with the agents and working out whether the area is actually right for you. So look at population growth, for example. It's really, really important. Look at how much vacancies is in the area. And I know there's no signs for that in commercial property, but you can count the shops along the streets. You can look at the for lease signs. You can look online to see some previous sales in terms of owner occupiers, as well as for lease, to see what the rates are. So you can get a gauge of whether you should buy something that's tenanted here or be worthwhile for you to buy something that is not tenanted but vacant, so you can do the uplift. So that's all depends on your research, of course, in an area. And then further, also, I would encourage you to try. It's important to try the local food, the local business, and also, you know, I always find that I go to the local hairdressers and the local beautician, or sometimes the massage therapist, not probably because I actually really need my nails done, but because I actually find a lot of information by actually going to the local hair and beauty salon, just having a chat about how their local area is going and talking to them about how their business is going, because they're going to tell you a lot of information about how the area, and if they've been there for 10 or 20 years, they're going to show you how it's changed over time, which is really important when you're looking at investing in a holiday town. Now, further, also one other thing to think about when you're investing in a holiday town is to remember the returns, the yield. Remember, ultimately, if the town has 20,000 population and you're coming from Sydney or Melbourne where it's a 5 million population, there is going to be a difference in yield. So while Sydney might do, you know, somewhere around, you know, a 3 or 4% as just an average for commercial property, in a town like Nelson Bay, it may be 6%, it might be 7%, because it is popular, and you might find that certain type of property will be more popular than others. So while in Sydney, you know, people might prefer to buy industrial, you might find that actually in somewhere like Nelson Bay, people actually prefer retail, because they're the properties that give them the most amount of returns. So that may be the ones that have the sharpest yield. Well, the industrial have yields that are much better. So you really got to compare that with the city, and then you have an idea of what is actually good for you, because ultimately it's all about cash in the pocket. So remember my 3 things to look for when you're looking at investing in a holiday town. Firstly, the area and what it's been and where it's going. So we look and explore the area. So the streets with all of the shops, the streets with all the people in there, are they just congregated to, you know, 2 streets, or are they 3 or 4 streets? And where is the locals hang out apart from the holiday makers? Yeah, and whether this town is going to survive even if there was no holiday makers. Okay. Number 2, the things to look at is demographic migration. So are there actually movement in terms of the residential front of things? So are there people moving to the area? Are they going upwards? So are they building apartments? Are they doing house and land packages? Are they increasing the commercial part of the business? So is there other streets that are being built and being occupied? So to look at that demographics and more people moving into the area, and you'll find that information on the ABS website, Australian Bureau of Statistics website, or you can ask the locals here, speak to 2 or 3 local agents, and they'll be able to tell you how the area is going. And of course, number 3, make sure you compare your returns. So what you're getting in Sydney is going to be different to what you're getting in a holiday town. So make sure that you are actually getting the right returns for the area, and you're not paying Sydney prices or metro prices for a area in a holiday town. And of course, remember that different classes of property, whether it's industrial, retail or office, are going to be different in a holiday area compared to a city area, just purely because there is different demands and what the people locals prefer. So remember those 3 points when you're looking at a holiday destination, and when you've got the wow factor, remember to do your research. So I hope that's been interesting for you, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. But in the meantime, hit subscribe and the bell, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.